My name is Jalal Nazari. I'm 27 years old. I am from Afghanistan. My father is an artist and I learned from him when I was much younger. It's a pretty tough situation with the Taliban ruling the country. They put very hard and restrictive rules in place to restrict the society, particularly the women. And since the beginning of their regime, the women are not allowed to go to school, they're not allowed to work, target killings are rising up, the financial backbone of the country is collapsing, and millions of people are going through severe poverty. It's a pretty hard situation for millions of people, especially during the winter. There are thousands and thousands of people who need food and shelter. So I hope the international community finds a solution for this humanitarian crisis that is going on in Afghanistan. Am I different than people in the West? Probably the biggest difference is that I am physically here, but mentally in Afghanistan, while people in the West are physically and mentally here. And I have gone through different traumas. I've survived from different explosions. I'm coming from a war area, actually, and it gives me a different understanding of life. But people here look at life and look at future basically from a different perspective. Yeah, and probably that is why when I talk to my friends in the West, they are very interested to know where I'm coming from and what is my life story and what's going on in Afghanistan and how people actually cope with the situation. And so yeah, we look at life from a different perspective. I don't really remember when exactly I started loving art and literature. It was always amazing to look at my father doing calligraphy and detailing what it means to be an artist and how it impacts life. As far as I remember, I was very young that my father provided me calligraphy materials and taught me how to write the first letters. Soon, I realized how fascinating it is to express your thoughts, emotions, and basically your understanding of life through art. For me personally, art makes life more meaningful, as well as it adds beauty to life, particularly in the current era that everything is getting industrialized and machinery and technology are dominating. From a social perspective, art inspires people, it gives people idea, it connects people. That's why people in different cultures love art, and they convey their feelings and emotions through art, because art is something very creative, and there are different things that are not really explained through words or through language. That's why there is art to talk and to convey and to explain those understandings, thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions. The art that I'm making, Persian calligraphy, is, for me, it's more like a spiritual activity. It makes me more conscious about myself, and it connects me to myself and to the universe. I believe that it makes me more loving and forgiving and peaceful. It has helped me a lot to cope with difficult situations in my life. It's always hard to make art in places like Afghanistan for different reasons. So first of all, people in such places are busy with more urgent stuff like poverty and war and conflict. So there's very little room for art to grow, as culture in general does not flourish in such places. And secondly, which is even more important, art is not appreciated in our education system. And the states do not pay real attention to art and artists. So there is very little understanding about art and the significance of art in life in the society. So it's not surprising to see that artists and poets are the poorest parts of the society. When the country fell to the Taliban, I had to flee because my life was in danger and leave my family and friends behind. So I had to migrate in a different country. Now living in a different country, but thinking about my family and friends and people who are left behind is very strange, and I had never imagined to migrate someday, but it happened. It's a kind of new understanding of life. Now I see myself and life from a completely different perspective. My art has been affected in different ways. So first of all, I couldn't get my calligraphy materials when I was leaving the country because the situation was very chaotic, and I could only get few clothes, and that was all. And here it's not really possible to provide the materials that I need. From other perspective, the situation made everyone hopeless and helpless. So the art that I'm making needs a peaceful environment and a calm mind. So to make art, I have to provide a peaceful environment for myself in order to create something that is worth. But still, I try to raise the voice of our people in any way possible, either through art or telling stories or writing poetry, just talking to people here, and I hope the situation gets better. When the country failed, most educated people left the country. People who were university professors, human rights activists, journalists, artists, poets. They left the country, and the country is left in the hands of a terrorist group, forcing people to obey them, or they will be assassinated. And as we see now, target killings are rising up, and people cannot raise their voice, people cannot protest. Former military forces are being assassinated, the journalists are being persecuted, people are not allowed to shave their beard, the women are not allowed to travel by themselves. So in general, Afghans have lost whatever they had achieved in the last 20 years in terms of their basic human rights, the freedom of expression, and the right to work, the right to raise their voice. they have lost everything, and the Taliban are now ruling the country without paying attention to the variety and to the different voices of people, basically. And my arts are going to raise awareness about the situation in Afghanistan. So if people buy these artworks, they will get a better understanding of the situation on the ground in Afghanistan. Whatever they understand about my country is through media. It's not really about the real tragedy which is going on in the country, particularly now that medias are monitored by the new rulers. So these artworks are aimed to raise awareness about the situation in Afghanistan for people who are abroad, particularly in the West, to take action regarding what's going on in Afghanistan.